Hey guys, so as you can see, this is not a live reaction. If you read the title, it says thoughts on. Unfortunately, I just could not get a live reaction video out of this because uh, this room was occupied at the time, and I just had other things to do, so I could not. Do it. So I've already seen the list, and if you haven't seen the list, I want you to go on Yu-Gi-Oh organization and find the list there, or go on the Twitter of the official TCG account. Um, so this list comes out on September the 2nd, which is literally in 2 days. It's literally this Monday, on Labor Day. So that's pretty wild. Like, they didn't even wait until it was Tuesday when Labor Day was already finished. So that's interesting. So I already saw this list. I'm gonna lay down my overall thoughts on the list. For the record, I don't really play TCG much anymore. It'll be a while before I actually really get back into it because Master Duel pretty much ate up my Yu-Gi-Oh life. So, and I don't do Banlist videos for Master Duel because by the time they reveal the ban lists, it's like really late at night. So, and I think, and as fun it would be to make like a thoughts on video for every Master Duel ban list, I think it would be it would get a little tiring. It wouldn't be all that exciting to talk about because I'm sure most people already know. But anyways, here are my overall thoughts on the TCG ban list. I'm not an expert on this format in particular, so I don't know everything. But I picked up on a few things here or there. So here are the bans, which is Fiendsmith, Lacrima, or Lacrima, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, Hot Red Dragon Arcfiend, King Calamity, because this was a manga card, that's why the name is so obnoxious, and Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. So, let's start with I'm not overly familiar with the fusion monster here, but I do know that this card was apparently part of so many ridiculous combos with Fiendsmith. All I know about Fiendsmith is that they have a Link 1, they play Fabled because their tutor card lets you discard things, which is stupid. They make rank 6, which is why Beatrice is on here. Well, I'll talk about that in a bit. And this fusion monster is pretty silly, just reading all of its effects. Like, it's a really silly card, and honestly, there were people who thought that this was going to get hit eventually, but not like right away. The fact it got banned on this list is pretty wild, considering the card has only been around for a month and a half at this point, so this is one of the fastest bans ever for the TCG. This is faster than the freaking Sixth Sense ban, which was banned like after almost 3 months. Like, it was like at least 2 months. So that's pretty wacky. So that card's gone. Appaloosa is banned as well. On its own, like standalone, Appaloosa is fine. The problem is that Appaloosa is one of the easiest negators to make, and it's usually surrounded by a bunch of other negators on boards. Appaloosa was pretty obnoxious to solve because of that. And like I said, it's really easy to make. I mean, you just need effect monsters. That's really it. It's silly. It's really, really silly. I mean, there's a lot of ways to out Appaloosa very easily. It can only be once per chain. It can only be used once per chain. And if you use anything like any spell or trap based negation, like it's dead. But Appaloosa is still very obnoxious. And like I said, when it's surrounded with other cards, that's where it becomes a real problem. So Appaloosa going away, that's fine. They banned Baron de Fleur, they banned Savage Dragon, so this getting banned as well, that makes sense. They're going after the generic, extra deck negators that are just too easy to make, so I understand. And then we have Calamity getting banned, which, I'm gonna be honest, I am surprised it took them this long to actually ban the damn thing. Like, what the hell was this card still? Why was this card still allowed? Like, this card should have never been allowed. The minute that Centaur Ion or Centaur Ion, I don't know, that deck came out, because that deck can summon this very easily, and so Calamity getting banned, that's good. This is absolutely the correct call. And Beatrice getting banned, good. I have no idea why Beatrice was allowed all this time. This was a card that was an issue for years. And I am so glad they finally banned it, because Fiendsmith were apparently obnoxious with this card, so I'm totally fine with that. I couldn't care what the reason is. The fact Beatrice is banned in the first place is good. I played Burning Abyss a lot, and Beatrice is great in that, but Beatrice in any deck that can summon her very easily that isn't Burning Abyss, that's a real problem. Like, dang. Beatrice should have never been made. Beatrice is a mistake of a card design. It was great for Burning Abyss, but making it that generic for rank 6 spam decks, yeah, bad idea. Bad idea. And for the limited cards, which there are a lot of, Eva got limited. So this is actually an unban, because it went from 0 to 1 here. I'm not a fan of this, because Eva was used in Drytron, so that way Herald of Perfection did not run out of gas, at least not as easily. Like, it's like, oh, well, oh no, like, the thing about Herald of Perfection is that you try to get rid of as many fairies out of their hand, and once you bait all of them out, you can go in and start kicking their shit in. But Eva makes it so that you don't run out of gas that easily, which is ridiculous. It's also very easy to fetch with Ben 10 being a thing. Not a fan of this card coming back. I believe Voiceless Voice can also use it, so And now for Snake Eyes Ash and Snake Eyes Poplar. So Snake Eye Ash. I hate these names. I really do. Ash going to 1. Yeah, that makes sense. They did that on Master Duel, and I believe they did this in OCG as well. I could be wrong here. Totally fine. I think hitting Ash in the first place was good. This card had no business being at 3, because wow, is it an obnoxious card. It tutors Poplar, and Poplar obviously special summons itself, and then you can send Ash and Poplar to bring out the big guy, the big snake thing. Flam Barrage, or whatever the hell it's called. Ash being limited makes total sense. Poplar, I mean, sure. Poplar is annoying too. Like, Poplar is obnoxious as well, so putting it at 1, fair. I mean, that's fine. Bonfire is still at 3. Wanted is still at 3. Oak is at 3. I believe I'm correct on this. So limiting these makes it less consistent, yes, but they still have so many other ways to tutor these things. There's still so many ways to tutor them. Like, oh, they lost some consistency, but still very consistent. So, yay. I mean, it's baby steps, I suppose, but they need to do way more with Snake Eyes. I know that some certain cards couldn't be banned because they were in the tins, but they could have at least limited some cards. Like, come on. Bonfire is still at 3. What the hell? Let's move on from Snake Eyes. We have number 40 and number C40. I mean, that's good. The OTK with this card is really obnoxious. I mean, I cannot believe we're in an age where gimmick puppets got a ridiculous wave that made them meta relevant. Like, I cannot believe that, but here we are. Strings at 1 is perfectly fine. Branded going from 3 to 1. Finally, that card was at 1 at Master Duel since forever. What the hell was the holdup for TCG? Sanctifier is still allowed. Nightmare Lock is still possible. But Branded going from 3 to 1, that's a good start. That is a very good start. Like, wow. That was a good start. That was absolutely the right call. They're never going to ban this card, I don't think, but limiting this? Yeah. This was absolutely something they need to do a long fucking time ago. So, thank God for that. Opening of the Spirit Gates. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. That card was pretty silly. Like, this card was a problem in Sprite, because you can tutor Dark Beacon Beasts. I believe that's how it worked. Like, it lets you tutor a monster that mentions the Sacred Beasts. And it gives you an extra normal summon, which is also kind of silly. Like, opening with the Spirit Gates and the Dark Beckoning Beast made it pretty easy to make Dungeon Buster. I've not played against Yubel and Master Duel enough to know the exact combos with opening and Yubel, but they existed. Limiting this, that's fine. It's not going to kill Yubel at all, mind you, but that's fine. Like, it's baby steps to addressing Yubel. Pot of Prosperity going from 3 to 1, good. I have no idea why they brought this back to 3. I think that was a mistake. Because if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, there's a card called Dig Through Time, which is, look at the top 7, if I'm remembering correctly. It's the top 7 cards, then you pick the best 2 and add them to your hand. I forget what happens with the rest of the card. I assume they're put at the bottom of your library in a random order. I assume that. It also had Delve, which means that you could cast it for basically free, because it was like, what, an 8 mana sorcery? I believe. It's been a while since I've looked into Dig Through Time. Well, Pot of Prosperity is basically that card, and even though it's technically a nerfed version, it's still pretty darn absurd to have this at 3. So limiting this, yeah, that was absolutely the right call. Like, this card at 3 made decks ridiculously consistent. Like, what the hell are you doing? So putting this at 1, yeah, totally fair. And then we have Sagan Summoning going from 3 to 1. Good. Tempeh is ridiculous, and putting this at 1 makes them a little more manageable. I believe there's still a couple of things they have to address with that deck, but this is a good start. That Grass Looks Greener comes back. On one hand, this card is not as busted as it once was. You're still milling a lot of cards, but because this is at 1, this makes it very sacky, and I'm not a big fan of that. If they put this at 3, like, it would not be as sacky, and people would actually prepare for this deck. I mean, and to be fair, because it's at 1, these decks would have to be ridiculously consistent despite their size, which is a big ask, but it's possible. So only a very specific number of decks could actually run That Grass Looks Greener. My concern is that for paper Yu-Gi-Oh!, like real-life Yu-Gi-Oh!, this card is a nightmare to resolve, because you have to count both players' decks, and that's not fun. That is really not fun. Like, for digital, this card is totally fine. Like, this card is on Master Duel, and it's not that big of a deal. It's annoying, but it's not that big of a deal, because putting their decks that big is a really bad idea, because all it does is make it less likely for you to open Ash. Not Ash, Max C. You want to see Max C as early as possible in Master Duel, and running a grass deck is a really bad idea. I mean, when it was at 3, it was kind of ridiculous, but you're not seeing Max C often. So, while putting it at 3 would make it very powerful, it would make it very easy to prepare for, right? So, but also That Grass Looks Greener dies to Ash very easily, which is hilarious. I don't like that this card is back, but this is mostly because of IRL reasons, but whatever. They'll have to get used to this. And Skill Drain getting limited again. I've lost track of how many times they've limited this damn card. Like, this is like, what, the third or fourth time they've done this? Putting this at 3, I think, was a really dumb idea. All this did was make Lich even more annoying, but Lich has died a while ago, and this card wasn't really seeing much play, but still, having this at 3, kind of dumb. So putting this at 1 makes sense. I mean, if Rivalry, there can be only 1, and that Anti-Spell Fragrance are all going to 1, and someone lives at 0, putting this at 1 makes sense. Like, they're putting all, like, the really annoying, like, floodgates or cards that just say, haha, you can't play at 1 or 0. That makes sense. They didn't hit deck lockdown, which is very surprising, but oh well, the list was getting big enough as it was. Oh well, maybe next time. Maybe they'll hit deck lockdown next time. And as for the semi-limits, all the Dragon Rulers are going to 2. Neat. I'm a little concerned because now that there are this many Dragon Rulers in the game, that could be an issue. Like, there could be decks based around this now, which is interesting. But Arise Heart is banned in TCG, which, holy shit, thank God. Thank goodness for that, because my goodness. And yeah, Dragon Ruler is at full power in Master Duel, and we have Arise Heart. So one day, Dragon Ruler Kashtira is going to dominate the whole fucking game. One day, that will happen. I've been meaning to make my own deck that's basically that, but it's going to take a lot of time for me to get all the cards, because that's a lot of ultra rares to craft for that deck, so yeah. Right now my Kashtira deck is with Tearlaments and Horse, or Haraz, or however you're supposed to pronounce that. So I'm cool. I'm good. I'm good with Kashtira. Also, they did not hit Kashtira, Fenrir, or Unicorn in this list, so that's fun. Lunar-like Tiger going from 1 to 2. This card at 1 was already kind of stupid, so putting this at 2 is even dumber. I have no idea what they're doing. I'm not sure why there's such a push for Lunar Lights, but sure, I don't personally like it. But somebody at the TCG office must like Lunar Lights enough to give them a second Tiger. Okay. Thunder Dragon Colossus going from 1 to 2. I don't like this either. That means that Unicorn can't solve this card anymore. I don't like that very much. I wish this card went back to 0, but oh well. Second Colossus. One's a problem enough, but now there's freaking 2 of them. Dear Lord. So, you can't solve with Unicorn anymore. So that's lousy. And Ib is going to 2. This card should have been at 3. Put this at 3. Why is this going to just 2? That's a little weird. And as for the unlimits, not much to say here. Armageddon Knight going to 3. Whatever. Whatever. What the hell is this going to do? I mean, you can send any Dark Monster with this card, but the decks that abuse this aren't really much of a factor right now, so go ahead. Red Rose Dragon, I believe this was a Dragon Link hit. Well, I think this hit was a little unnecessary, so putting this at 3 makes sense. Magispectre Unicorn Kirin going from 1 to 3. Sure. I doubt they're running that many Kirins in the first freaking place. They're probably going to play the 1 copy, and that's all they need, so putting this at 3, sure. Pendulums still suck in TCG because Electromite is still banned, so that's fine by me. Speaking of Pendulums, Plush Fire is unbanned, but this is only because it got the errata. I don't remember the exact specifics of the errata, but the errata made it so that, oh, we can bring this back. Personally, I had no problems with the pre-errata. I think the pre-errata was actually kind of okay. But sure. Ancient Fairy Dragon went to 3. No one was playing that people were not playing 3 Ancient Fairy Dragons back in the old days before it was banned. I don't recall anyways. So putting this at 3, that's fine. Danglong going to 3, that's fine. And lastly, Time Seal, that's fine. 3 Time Seals mean that you can Trap Trick it, which is hilarious. But even at a single link copy, Lab only needed the 1 copy anyways. It's just for Trap Trick, or Trap Tracks if you prefer. I think Trap Tracks also fetches normal traps. But yeah, Time Seal, I mean, Lab, you only need at least 1 copy for this to be ridiculous in Lab. But at 3, sure. And that's it. This list is kind of wacky. They did address a couple of things which I like, but a lot of this is just baby steps, and that's pretty annoying, especially the long wait the long wait that people had. My brain is fried right now. I can't think straight, but anyways, There's not much else for me to say. I mean, it is what it is. The next ban list is probably in December or January. It's not going to be soon. I expect them to wait at least 3 to 4 months. So, and we're going to get a new set by that point. We're going to get a Rage of the Abyss, which, from my understanding, is going to make Tenpei even worse. Oh dear. So looking forward to that. But anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.